Good morning. I don't know if you've ever typed into a search engine on the internet, "this week's disasters," but if you do, you come up with the most awful things. Australia has suffered badly with fires and floods. Indonesia has had storms and floods badly damaging a lot of things. So has China, just about every country. The most surprising is the Arabian Peninsula, which is generally a desert, but they've had floods and storms. So what did Jesus have to say about this? Well, in Matthew 24 and verse 44, he said, "Stand ready, because the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." Now, many were expecting Jesus to come in the late 1800s and then again at various dates in the 1900s. And it didn't come. So are we just to think, oh, well, we'll just give up? No. He said in verse 42, "Stay awake, because you do not know the day when your master is coming." Now, these seemingly contradictory statements can be understood when we realize that we don't know the day or the hour, but we know the general era. For example, in one of Jesus' parables, he talks about the master arriving. Now, the servants knew generally which night he was coming, but they didn't know the hour, whether it was 11 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock the next morning. So they had to stay awake. So what are we keeping on the watch for? Well, in verse 27, Jesus said, "The coming of the Son of Man will be like lightning striking in the east and flashing far into the west." In other words, when Jesus arrives this second time, there will be no doubt whatsoever in anybody's mind, whether you're Christian, Muslim, or atheist. We will know that Jesus has come. That's what we're watching for. But we were given signs to give us some idea of the general time it would happen. And we know what the signs are: earthquakes, famines, diseases, dreadful things. But in Luke 21, Jesus said something quite surprising. He said, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On earth, nations in agony, bewildered by the clamour of the ocean and its waves, men dying of fear as they await what menaces the earth." Now, have we arrived at that point? Well, I'm not so sure. And you might like to put comments below. Yes, people are worried about climate change, but are we really fearful of it? We're still thinking that we can sort it out ourselves. But when the oceans start inundating cities, maybe that will be the time that this scripture is fulfilled. But see, put the comments below and tell me what you think. Now, I'm going to put a couple of little clips here because Ireland has not suffered so much due to climate change, but I just want to get you thinking about whether we are in the last days or not, and whether the earth is worth saving. So have a look and tell me what you think. Thank you for watching this morning. As you can see, we're barely affected by global warming in Ireland, apart from a lot more rain. But even so, if I scan gently around to these other hills here, you can see that the tops of the mountains are black. They were on fire 2 weeks ago. You can imagine what this would do to a country without rain. Probably the worst fire we've ever had. Half the park is gone. It's odd, considering the amount of rain, but we're not looking after the planet as we should be. Okay, so this is why this planet is worth saving. It's incredibly beautiful. It's simply that there shouldn't be so much water here. The sea level rise has been quite bad. But I don't know if you can see, in the middle of the estuary there's a sandbank and that used to belong to this bit of land just here. Now if you can imagine if you lived on that patch of grass there and sea level was eroding your home, which it is for many people around the world, what sort of state you'd be in. It's okay for us in Ireland, but it's not okay for so many people.